In the silent depths of a forgotten research station, a weary human mechanic stumbles upon a colossal being, frozen for 1,000 years. Yet it does not stir for the countless scientists who studied it, only for the sound of his voice. Why did it awaken now? And why to him? What secret past is buried in the stars? And what danger waits to return? If you are new to the channel, then please subscribe to the channel and like the video, and tell us in the comments, where are you watching from? Now, let's jump into the story. The research station Argent Dawn drifted silently above a dying star, its massive frame glowing faintly in the orange light. To most who lived there, the station was just another outpost of the Galactic Council, a place filled with endless machinery, forgotten experiments, and recycled air. But for Leon Hartwell, a human mechanic newly contracted to the station, it was both an opportunity and a burden. Leon had arrived only weeks earlier. Humans were still seen as newcomers on the galactic stage, known mostly for their persistence and for solving problems that others found impossible. The council had hired him because humans were adaptable, able to fix old systems long considered obsolete. But adaptability did not make the endless shifts easier. That night, after 18 hours of crawling through ventilation shafts and rewiring energy relays, Leon's final task was listed as a routine maintenance request in Vault 27. The report suggested environmental control issues. Simple work, or so he thought. When he reached the sealed chamber, the automated system denied him entry 3 times. Frustration rose in his chest. "Override, Technician Hartwell, level contractor clearance gamma," he muttered, repeating the authorization sequence he had memorized. The door remained still. Exhaustion made his head heavy, but he crouched down, opening the manual access panel. The circuits inside were far older than anything he had studied. Layers of technology stacked like relics from a forgotten age. "Come on, old junk," Leon sighed. "I just need to fix your temperature regulators and then sleep." After 20 minutes of stubborn rewiring, the massive doors finally opened with a groan that echoed down the corridor. Leon stepped forward, carrying his tools, and froze. The chamber stretched before him like a hangar carved out of metal and shadow. At its center was not a regulator, not a machine at all, but a vast form suspended in a shimmering blue containment field. It was a creature, massive and serpentine, scales glinting even under layers of frost. Wings folded against its body, its tail curled like a coiled spear. The being looked less like a specimen and more like a legend trapped in glass. Leon's breath caught in his throat. He had never seen anything like it, not even in archived council records. The containment field hummed with power, and frost spread across its surface in patterns that looked like frozen rivers. "That's not a regulator," he whispered. His boots echoed across the floor as he walked closer. The being was at least 70 meters long, its form both alien and strangely majestic. Even through the frost, its scales shone with a deep blue-black color, as if fragments of night sky had been trapped in its hide. Leon set his tools down and approached the control console at the far end of the chamber. Screens glowed faintly, filled with alien scripts and warning symbols. Some languages he recognized from training. Others were older, almost unreadable. "Environmental failure detected," he murmured, reading the translation his tablet managed to produce. "Field integrity dropping by micro levels. Whoever set this up wanted it to last forever." The young mechanic rubbed his eyes. The task looked simple enough. Replace a failing power unit and recalibrate the system. But the presence of the creature made every second heavy with tension. Still, Leon worked. His hands moved across the controls, adjusting settings and scanning power lines. The job was routine, and speaking out loud helped him stay focused. Power couplings degraded, temperature cycling too fast, typical council engineering. He let out a soft laugh. And of course, they send the human to clean it up. He didn't notice at first, but the frost on the containment field shifted as he spoke. Just a faint ripple, like water disturbed by a pebble. Leon stopped mid-sentence. He leaned forward, staring at the surface of the field. "That's odd," he said slowly. "Did you react?" Silence pressed against his ears. The creature remained motionless, its vast body unchanged. Shaking his head, he turned back to the console. "Must be stress," he muttered. Yet when he spoke the word human again, the frost shifted once more. This time, point, dot, dot. It spiraled across the field in patterns too deliberate to ignore. Leon's pulse quickened. "No way," he whispered, his eyes fixed on the massive form. Then, as if in answer to his disbelief, a single golden eye flickered open within the frost. The pupil was vertical, sharp, and alive. Leon stumbled back, his tools clattering to the floor. The eye was enormous, glowing faintly with awareness. It focused on him with a clarity that froze his breath. The creature had awakened. Not for the scientists who had studied it for centuries, not for the council officials who kept it sealed away, but for a human voice spoken in frustration. Leon's training screamed at him to call security, to report the anomaly. But he could not move. The golden eye held him in place, unblinking, as if it had waited across endless centuries for this exact moment. The chamber felt alive now, the hum of the containment field louder, the air colder, charged with unseen energy. Leon swallowed hard. "You can hear me, can't you?" he said softly. The eye narrowed slightly, the only response needed. Leon's world had changed. The routine assignment, the tired hours, the endless repairs meant nothing now. Because in the silent depths of Vault 27, he had woken something colossal, something that remembered. The image of that golden eye haunted Leon through the night. He lay awake in his small quarters, staring at the ceiling, unable to escape the weight of what he had witnessed. He told himself it must have been an illusion, some trick of the containment field. But deep down, he knew the truth. The creature had seen him, and it had chosen to respond. The next day dragged with endless repair assignments. Leon tried to focus on broken pumps and stubborn circuit panels, but his thoughts always returned to Vault 27. Why had the being stirred when he spoke? Why to him and not to the scientists who had studied it for centuries? When the station entered its low-shift cycle and most of the crew settled into rest, Leon made his decision. He slipped away, tools tucked into his belt, his steps echoing faintly down the deserted corridors. He knew it was dangerous, maybe even reckless, but curiosity burned hotter than fear. The doors of Vault 27 loomed before him once again. The additional security systems hummed, but his earlier work gave him the confidence to bypass them quietly. With careful fingers, he rewired a panel, and soon the massive doors parted, just enough for him to slide inside. The chamber was as silent as before. Frost covered the shimmering field, and the immense creature remained suspended within. But Leon felt a difference in the air, a heaviness, as though the space itself waited for him. He stepped forward and whispered, "Hello again." Immediately, the frost shifted. The surface rippled like water, disturbed by a breeze. The golden eye opened, brighter now, and tracked him across the Leon's heart pounded. "You can hear me," he said quietly. "I know you can." This time, the response was undeniable. Patterns began to form in the frost, spirals and symbols that twisted and reformed as if searching for meaning. Leon fumbled with his pack and pulled out a small holographic device he had built from spare parts. It was a crude translator, nothing like the advanced council models, but it could analyze repeating structures. He placed it on the floor. The device hummed, projecting a thin sheet of light. The symbols etched in frost shimmered, aligning with the translator's sensors. For long seconds, nothing happened. Then the shapes began to stabilize. Words formed, jagged and imperfect, but recognizable. The first word was simple, human. Leon's breath caught. "Yes," he answered softly. "I'm human." The frost swirled again, and new words emerged. Long ago, creators, friends. Leon shook his head in disbelief. Creators? No, that can't be right. But the patterns persisted, steady and deliberate. Humans, bond, protectors. A chill ran through him. All his life, humans had been told they were late to the galactic stage. A young race welcomed into the council only a few centuries earlier. Yet here was a being claiming the opposite, that humans were once creators, allies of something colossal, something powerful enough to be preserved across thousands of years. "This doesn't make sense," Leon whispered. "We're newcomers. We only left Earth a few hundred years ago. You must be mistaken." The golden eye narrowed, and another sequence formed. Time broken, longer, forgotten. The words carried weight, a haunting suggestion that history itself was incomplete, that entire ages had been erased. Leon staggered back, overwhelmed. He steadied his voice. "Why me? Why now?" The frost shifted slowly this time. Human voice. Memory awakens. The realization struck him with force. It wasn't coincidence. It wasn't luck. The creature had been waiting, listening across the silence of centuries, and for reasons he could not yet understand, it had responded only to him. Leon dropped to one knee, staring up at the immense form. "What are you?" he asked. The frost symbols swirled into a single phrase. Guardian, sentinel, bound to humans. The word guardian echoed in Leon's mind. The being was not just a specimen locked away by the council. It was a protector. But protector of what? And why had the council kept it hidden for so long? He sat in silence, his mind racing with questions. His translator buzzed, struggling to keep pace with the symbols. More words formed, fragmented, but clear enough. Danger returns. Need bond. Need human. His pulse quickened. Danger? What kind of danger? Before the frost could respond, a warning tone from the console cut through the air. Power fluctuations surged through the field. The symbols dissolved, leaving the surface covered in frosto. The golden eye blinked once, then closed halfway, as though the effort of reaching out had drained the being. Panic struck Leon. He rushed to the console, fingers flying across the controls to stabilize the system. The reading spiked and then steadied, the field humming back into balance. He turned back to the creature. Its eye remained open just enough to watch him. "I don't know what you mean," Leon whispered, voice trembling. "But I'll come back. I'll figure this out." The frost swirled faintly one last time, forming a single word before fading. Remember. Leon stood frozen in the silence, the word echoing in his mind. He gathered his tools and forced himself to leave. The doors sealed shut behind him, but the memory of the golden eye stayed with him, sharp and alive. As he made his way back through the empty corridors, one thought rose above all others. This was no ordinary discovery. This was the beginning of a story that could rewrite everything humans believed about themselves. And deep within Vault 27, the silent Colossus waited, whispering truths long buried, waiting for Leon to return. The hours after Leon's second visit to Vault 27 felt heavy with unease. Every corner of the station seemed different, as if unseen eyes followed him. The memory of the Guardian's words, "Danger returns. Need bond," echoed in his mind like a warning he could not silence. He tried to hide his uneasiness during his shift, but his tired face and restless movements caught the attention of the overseers. The Galactic Council prized order, and anyone who strayed from routine drew suspicion. Leon knew it was only a matter of time before someone noticed his visits to the Forbidden Chamber. That time arrived sooner than he expected. While working on a coolant system in one of the lower decks, Leon felt the grip of security hands on his arms. Before he could react, two officers pulled him away, their voices stern and unyielding. "Technician Hartwell," one said, "you are to come with us. Director Sorath demands your presence." Leon's stomach twisted. There was no use fighting. The officers led him through the shining corridors toward the council director's chamber. The door opened with a whisper, revealing a tall figure bathed in pale light. Director Sorath was not human. His skin glimmered with translucent patterns that shifted like flowing water. His many-faceted eyes glowed with calm intensity, hiding thoughts Leon could not read. "Sit," Sorath commanded. Leon obeyed, his hands tightening on the arms of the chair. "You entered Vault 27, Sorath said. His voice was quiet, but carried the weight of accusation. "Twice. Unauthorized. Do you understand the gravity of your actions?" Leon hesitated, then nodded. "I do. But the being inside, it's not just a specimen. It's alive. It's aware. It spoke to me." Sorath's skin flickered with darker hues, the closest thing his species showed to anger. "Impossible. The entity has remained inert since its discovery centuries ago." "Not anymore," Leon insisted. "It opened its eye. It formed words. It knows humans. It called itself a guardian." Sorath leaned forward, his gaze sharp. "That information is classified. You will not speak of it again. You are hereby confined to your quarters until further notice." Leon's heart sank. He had expected denial, but the director's words revealed more than intended. Sorath knew something. Two guards escorted him back to his quarters and locked the door. Leon paced the small room, anger and fear twisting inside him. The council had secrets about the creature and about humans. But why hide the truth? What danger did they fear? Determined to find answers, Leon sat at his personal terminal. The system restricted most files, but he still had partial access as a technician. Carefully, he searched through the archives, looking for fragments the council might have overlooked. After hours of digging, he uncovered scattered references buried in old reports, ancient ruins found on distant worlds, symbols carved into stone resembling the spirals he had seen in the frost, fragments of theories dismissed by official historians. One paper, written decades earlier by a forgotten archaeologist, suggested the existence of a civilization older than the council itself, a civilization erased from memory. Leon's chest tightened as he studied the sketches attached to the paper. The designs matched the patterns he had seen projected by the Guardian. His mind raced. Could it be true? Were humans not a young species at all? but descendants of something much older? If so, what catastrophe had hidden that history? A thought struck him. The Guardian had told him, "Find Bond." Could the key lie within himself? He opened his medical records, pulling up his genetic profile. Then, the sequences of his DNA glowed on the screen. Most of it looked ordinary, but one section had been flagged as an anomaly during his contract screening. Until now, he had ignored it. He compared the sequence to the spiral symbol from the archaeologist's paper. The similarity was undeniable. The computer confirmed a correlation of over 80%. Leon's hands trembled. The bond the Guardian spoke of was not a metaphor. It was written into his very blood. Just then, the station alarms blared. Red lights flashed across his quarters. The voice of the central system echoed through the speakers. Containment instability detected in Vault 27. All security units report immediately. Leon's pulse raced. Something was happening. Something involving the Guardian. Outside his quarters, guards rushed past, responding to the alarm. Leon saw his chance. Moving quickly, he accessed the ventilation system, pulling off the cover and squeezing inside. His training as a mechanic had given him knowledge of every hidden shaft. He crawled through the narrow passages, the sound of alarms guiding him. After what felt like hours, he reached the lower levels near Vault 27. The area was crowded with armed officers and technicians struggling to stabilize the systems. Hidden in the shadows, Leon watched as Sorath himself arrived, issuing orders with cold precision. "Reinforce the field," Sorath commanded. "Do not allow the entity further consciousness." The words chilled Leon. The Council was not trying to study the Guardian. They were trying to keep it silent. Slipping away from the guards, Leon found an old maintenance shaft leading into the vault's outer systems. He forced the hatch open and dropped into the dark chamber once more. Inside, the Guardian's massive body stirred restlessly within the shimmering field. Its golden eye blazed brighter than before, filled with urgency. Leon stepped closer, his voice low but steady. "I know now. I understand. The bond? It's in me, isn't it? In my DNA. That's why you answered." Symbols flared across the field, more rapid than ever. Yes, human key, forgotten link. Leon swallowed hard. "What do you want me to do?" The frost swirled into a final message. "Connect. Awaken. Danger near." Sorath's voice echoed from the corridor outside. The doors were opening. Guards would flood the chamber in seconds. With trembling hands, Leon turned toward the ancient panel near the console, the one the Guardian had revealed before. It was old, almost hidden, but its surface glowed faintly, as if waiting for him. Behind him, footsteps thundered closer. Sorath's voice cut through the air. "Step away, technician." Leon pressed his palm to the panel. The surface came alive with golden light. The panel pulsed with golden light the instant Leon's hand pressed against it. Warmth spread through his palm, racing up his arm and into his chest. It was not painful, but over, as though the station itself had awakened beneath his touch. The Guardian stirred within the containment field. Its vast body shifted, scales shimmering with the glow of distant stars. The golden eye locked onto Leon, no longer half-closed, but wide open, alive, and filled with recognition. Symbols surged across the containment surface faster than Leon's translator could process. His device struggled, then stabilized into words. "Bond complete. Human awakened." Leon gasped, his body trembling. He felt something deep within him respond, a resonance buried in his very blood. It was as if the Guardian's voice no longer needed translation. He could feel its meaning in his mind, clear and direct. Behind him, the heavy doors of the vault opened. Director Soreth and a squad of guards stormed in, weapons raised. "Step away now." Soreth's voice was sharp, his skin glowing with crimson patterns of rage. "You have no idea what you are unleashing." But Leon did not move. We could hear the Guardian's voice echoing inside him, steady and calm. Truth hidden, humanity erased. Danger returns. Soreth advanced, his tone dark. The Council deemed humanity unready for this knowledge. Your kind were scattered for a reason. The Sentinels are too dangerous. They are weapons. You cannot control them. The Guardian's voice resonated again. Not weapons, protectors, created with humans, symbiosis, together against devourers. The word devourers sent a shiver down Leon's spine. He imagined beings of darkness, predators of stars, returning after eons. "What are the devourers?" Leon asked aloud, his voice trembling. The Guardian answered, its massive head lifting against the field. "Void feeders, destroy worlds. Long ago, humans and Sentinels fought them. Humans fell. Truth buried." Soreth's expression hardened. "Enough. The Council forbade this knowledge. Technician Hartwell, you will be silenced. Now." He raised a hand, signaling the guards. Before they could fire, the containment field surged. Waves of light radiated outward, forcing the guards to shield their eyes. Leon stood unharmed, the glow surrounding him like a shield. "Bond protects," the Guardian said inside his mind. "You are chosen, human. You carry the key. Without Bond, Galaxy falls again." Leon's heart pounded. He was just a mechanic, a contract worker called in to fix old machines. Yet here he stood, holding a link to a forgotten age, a bond that tied his very DNA to a sentinel built to guard the stars. The console at his side lit with new patterns, ancient and powerful. Instinct guided his hands. He pressed a sequence, and the field shifted, not collapsing, but bending. The Guardian moved freely for the first time in 1,000 years, though still contained within shimmering light. Soreth shouted in fury, "You fool! Do you understand what you have done? You've awakened a relic of war. You've doomed us all." Leon turned toward him. Note, his voice steady now. "No, you've doomed us by hiding the truth. The Devourers are coming back, and you tried to keep the only defense locked away." The Guardian's golden eye blazed brighter. "Human remembers. Together, we rise again." The chamber shook as energy flowed through the Sentinel's body. Star-like patterns shimmered across its scales, glowing as though the galaxy itself was etched into its form. The guards hesitated, weapons trembling in their hands. Even they felt the power of what was awakening. Soreth stepped back, his glowing skin flickering with fear. "The Council will never allow this bond. You cannot defy them." "Maybe I can't," Leon said, "but we can." He placed his palm against the console again. The panel flared, merging his heartbeat with the Sentinel's pulse. A connection formed deeper than thought, a current of memory and purpose. Images flashed in his mind. Humans soaring among the stars, riding beside guardians of light, fleets battling against shadows that consumed entire systems, civilizations rising, falling, then erased. And through it all, the bond between human and sentinel, unbroken until history itself was stolen. The visions faded, leaving Leon breathless but certain. He finally understood. Humanity had not been young. It had been ancient, and it had once stood at the heart of a galactic struggle. The Sentinel's voice filled him with quiet strength. Bond remembered. Future begins. The alarms across the station blared louder. Containment levels redlined. Security reinforcements would be arriving any moment. But Leon no longer felt fear. He looked up at the Guardian. What do we do now? The golden eye blinked slowly. Find others, prepare. Darkness returns, but with Bond, hope remains. The vault doors shuddered as more guards tried to force their way inside. Soreth backed away, his expression torn between anger and dread. Leon took a step closer to the sentinel, resting his hand on the glowing panel. He knew his life would never return to what it had been. The path ahead was dangerous, uncertain, perhaps impossible. But he also knew this was no longer about him alone. It was about all of humanity and the galaxy itself. The Guardian's immense form lowered slightly, as though bowing. The hum of its voice echoed through Leon's very bones. Together we rise again, and for the first time in countless ages, a bond long forgotten was reborn.